Sometimes I'm working with a client to help them gain hip mobility while in supine. So on their back. And I might be bringing their leg up to this position. And I might be choosing this because they can't go legs against the wall for whatever reason. And I'm moving their leg, and it's obvious that they've got the range available, but actively they can't find it, right? So passively they show me they've got potential, but actively they can't quite put it together. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll give them a strap. And as we're putting the strap on, I just make sure that the pelvis is really quiet on the ground. So when they put the strap on, it's not like the pelvis is coming off the ground. It's that the leg's moving up with that pelvis being as quiet as possible. Not anchored, just quiet. And then they start to bring that leg up into a position where their legs become a bit straighter, if they can. My focus is more, though, that their hips at 90, and then wherever their knee is wherever their knee is. And then over time, as they practice this, they can work with making that a little bit straighter. But even just wherever there are, then from here, this is providing the support, and they just do some really, really gentle motion of that leg bone in the hip socket, like that femur and the acetabulum. And then with the strap, they don't need to be gripping it or clenching it or like white knuckling it, that this becomes whatever amount of support they need, whether they're holding it but not white knuckling it, just to provide some support for the weight of the leg. And then they just get to play with, can they feel that leg bone moving in the hip socket, and can they generate that movement through their own power rather than relying on an external source like myself. And then as they play with this, they often gain a bit of awareness of how much their hip flexor is being used to hold the leg up, because if they've got the strap, then in time they don't need to use that. And it's just a general sort of settling. And sometimes a cueing that I might use with someone is, I want you to imagine this leg bone is like a wooden telephone pole and the pelvis is like mud. And the wooden telephone pole is sinking into the mud. All while they're holding easily with their hands and their jaws relaxed and breathing is easy, and they just then start to play around with that wooden telephone pole in the mud. Okay? And then as they start to get more action, then they can come into a position like this. All right? So some things to play with around some getting of awareness, moving from passively working with them and then gaining some activity with using their own power. Enjoy it. See you next time.